Hi there. Welcome to Season 10. For the first time ever, we're going to have live consultation sessions right here on the podcast. Normally, we have 12 guests each season, and we still will in this case, but with a twist. 6 of the guests will be entrepreneurs seeking to create a new or improve an existing process. And the other 6 guests will be leaders of technology companies who will showcase how their products can help all of us streamline our operations. But before we get started, I need you to promise me one thing, that you'll be patient with me. Keep in mind that the next 12 interviews you hear are pre-recorded live, and so the sound quality may be a bit off compared to previous episodes. These episodes are also video recorded so that you can have the benefit of actually seeing what we describe during the show. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, get ready to learn some things and have fun in the process. Let's start the show. Hi, everybody. This is our first live workflow workshop, and I am here with Clarence Levy and 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀. I pronounced that correctly, right, Derek?
You did.
Okay, I'm from Louisiana, so I know how to pronounce these French names. And Clarence and Derek are the co-owners of MorTec Innovation. Welcome to the show, guys. How are you today?
We're good. Welcome.
Okay, well, before we get into the process that you actually want to talk through, I'd like for each of you to first introduce yourselves. So, Clarence, let's start with you.
Okay, my name is Clarence Levy, 1998-99 graduate of Morehouse and Georgia Tech. Electrical engineering, telecom, with a telecom concentration. And I have been in engineering and project management for 20 years.
Wow.
And just March of 2019, I took the leap of faith to start my own project management firm. And later on, my classmate Derek and I crossed paths, and he asked me to come on to this MorTec Innovation adventure, and here we are.
Well, welcome. Congratulations on dipping your toe into that entrepreneurial pool, Clarence. And for those of you listening and watching, Clarence and I have known each other for a very long time. We went to high school together. Right. So we're both getting gray hairs.
Get all that, man.
You'll get even more, Clarence, now that you're a full-fledged entrepreneur. Trust me.
I know.
For real.
So, Derek, let's tell us more about you. About yourself.
Again, my name is 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀, and I'm an engineer as well, a Morehouse and Georgia Tech graduate as well, dual degree, and finished at Morehouse in 96, at Georgia Tech in 99. So Clarence and I have spent some time both at Morehouse and Georgia Tech in the classroom. I've worked as a hardware test engineer for the past 20 years at different companies. Some of those companies were Toshiba, Landis & Gyr, and currently I'm still, not like Clarence, I'm still employed through corporate America. So I'm currently at Coca-Cola working as a lead reliability engineer.
Okay.
For Coca-Cola Freestyle.
Yes. So that used to be a part of Coca-Cola Refreshments, right?
Yes.
The company. Yes. Well, we'll talk offline about that because I did some processes and procedures for the Freestyle machine years ago.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
Years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. So tell us more about your company, MorTec Innovation. You started it, right, Derek?
Well, I think we started together. So
okay.
I've been an entrepreneur for maybe 10 years now.
Okay.
Mainly, I've got into entrepreneurship through the barber and beauty industry. My wife is a hairstylist. So about 12 years ago, I started doing marketing for my wife, and I ended up meeting a lot of people in that industry. So long story short, I met up with a barber, and we launched a product, a hair color product, several years back, and it had some success. But even I had some spin-off businesses, online beauty retail that spun off of that hair product. And so I've been dipping and dabbling in entrepreneurship through the barber and beauty industry. but I kind of wanted to do more engineering, right? More true engineering, more technical products, right? And so I approached Clarence earlier this year, and they said, "Hey, man, let's make a go of it." And he had the opportunity to see me or participate with the 𝗕𝗂𝘀𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗧 hair show, and he saw how many people were there and what kind of products they were buying, and I kind of got him excited, right? And it was kind of that weekend we said, "Hey, man, let's go ahead and kind of back up all the talk we've been doing, and let's start a business." So that's kind of how we got started with MorTec.
Yeah.
Okay.
MorTec, being that we are Morehouse and Georgia Tech graduates. I mean, you see we repping it all over the place here.
Yes, I see. Now, so you're used to dealing with tangible or physical products.
Correct.
Right? Being that, with your experience in the barber and beauty industry. So how long has MorTec Innovation been in existence? Is it still considered a startup?
Oh, yes. 2 months.
Okay. 2 months. So very new.
The official date of MorTec Innovation going live was June 2nd of this year.
Okay. And you have a new flagship product, right? The
Correct.
Protect 𝗕𝗂𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀.
Yep.
And I'm a customer. So tell us a little bit more about your first product.
So Derek, you want to take that one?
Yeah, I could take that one. So it started kind of when we saw the coronavirus pandemic really increase across the U.S. And myself, I know a few nurses in the metro Atlanta area. And I know one thing that they needed in addition to PPE was just some way to protect their cell phone, right? Nurses these were nurses in the ICU units caring for COVID patients. And they knew the virus was in the air, moving around, and they constantly had to look at their cell phones, sometimes just to check up on with the other nurses in the unit and see what was going on, also just to check up on their family. And I noticed one lady said she used saran wrap, for example.
Oh, wow.
Or like a grocery bag just to protect it, because she didn't want to just use it out in the open. So I just said, what can we do? How can we make that, a product where they can be able to use their phone and protect it at the same time? So that's kind of how we came out with Protect My Cell, cell phone germ protectors.
Okay, and you all actually submitted a video talking about a specific process that you wanted to talk about as it relates to the marketing and commercialization of Protect My Cell. So we're going to go ahead and give a plug really quickly. Let me pull this up on the screen here for 𝗕𝗏𝘂𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 actually our sponsor this season, and it's a video app that allows you to create these short 30-second videos. And what's really cool about it is that you can merge these short videos all in one fell swoop without having to spend several hours of editing. Now, Clarence and I actually communicated via video using this app, and we were able to splice those videos together, merge those videos together. And you can go ahead and take a listen to that video right now.
Hello, my name is Clarence Levy III. I am a managing partner at the newly formed MorTec Innovation, where we utilize technology and innovation to impact mankind in a positive manner. Both me and my business partner are graduates, proud graduates of Morehouse College and the Georgia Institute of Technology in their dual degree program. Our first venture or product is called Protect My Cell. We have gotten that product to the point of where we are ready to start the commercialization process. Thing is, we don't have a commercialization process. So right now, we seem to be going, I guess, back and forth, and it seems as though we don't have a lot of structure. So because of that, my business partner and I, 𝗕𝗂𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀, also a graduate of Morehouse and Georgia Tech, basically feel as though if we had something that was even remotely repeatable, because we have several products coming after this, how are we going to maximize our potential to commercialize our products? So if we can get with you and discuss maybe a process around commercialization, that would be great.
Hey, Clarence, thank you so much for submitting a request to talk about a commercialization process for the Protect My Cell product that you and Derek have recently created, and is very exciting. I'm a customer, so I know firsthand. There are three things that I want us to talk about when you both come on the show. Number one, what type of validation testing did you all do prior to releasing the product to the marketplace? Two, do you have a marketing plan? And then third, who is your target audience? I want you and Derek to think about those three things, because we're actually going to use that as a starting point as we develop a commercialization process or workflow for the Protect My Cell product. So I look forward to seeing both you and Derek on the show soon. It'll be fun. Bye. Okay, so now that we've heard what the process that Clarence and Derek want to talk about, which is this commercialization process, let's get right into it. But first, I must give a disclaimer. Commercialization is all about the marketing and the promotion and the branding of your product, correct? So being that I'm coming at this from the operations perspective, I just want to put this disclaimer out there that I know enough about marketing to be able to lead you down a certain path. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, what I'm really interested in is helping you all figure out from an operations perspective, once you start to benefit and see some ROI on all of your marketing efforts, I want to make sure that from an operations perspective that you're able to actually meet the demand.
Right.
So what if you get out there and you start getting on social media and this thing just really takes off? You get on QVC, you get your television commercials going, these appearances on large platforms like, let's say, Good Morning America. See, I'm speaking all of this into existence. Hey, I'm speaking all of this into existence for both of you. So what happens, Derek and Clarence, when you now have a different type of problem? Right now, it's trying to attract customers to MorTec Innovation, right? But what happens when you have a different type of problem where you have more customers than you can handle? How will you make sure that the quality of this Protect My Cell product is not compromised and that you're still able to deliver on time? So, but let's get back to commercialization. So I'm curious, when you all say commercialization, what exactly do you mean? I want to make sure first that we're on the same page about what that means exactly.
Well, I'll speak. I guess I'll say something, and then I guess Derek can chime in. For me, it's more for us. It's now that we've gotten packaging, we've tested. Derek is, we did fit testing, we did all these different things. We've got the product, we've got the website, we've got all the tools we need in order to be able to sell the product. But we're now trying to get into stores. We're now trying to get into QVC. We're trying to get to all these places that you that you spoke of that got me so excited a few seconds ago. And and what we want to know is I feel like I just need something, a repeatable process, because we're going to come across this again, because we have other products coming right on the tail of this. We're not, just Protect My Cell is just the beginning. So what I want to try to get to is kind of get a muscle memory of what to do when we have a product, and how do we get it to the point where we can actually get it out to the places that we want to get it to. How do we get to how do we get to corporate? How do we get to the business? Not hand-to-hand sales, but the businesses.
Yeah. In addition to those, I would just add, because our target market is frontline workers in the hospital. How do we get in the hospital? We've heard from a few nurses that say, "Hey, I love it, but I expect for my hospital to purchase these for me."
Yes.
Right. So how do we? So that's a question. That's a hurdle we're trying to.
I can answer that. I can answer that one really quickly. So most of these organizations, for example, you're doing work right now with Coca-Cola, but any large organization, whether it's private, nonprofit, for-profit, they have these supplier diversity, not just supplier diversity, but they do have these vendor management programs. You have to sign up as a vendor. You have to get into their database, because there are buyers at these different organizations, including hospitals. So you have to first get registered. What will happen with you They're going to look at you, both of you, and
Mhm.
see that, you know, that you're Black, you're men. So they're going to ask you, Derek and Clarence, is MorTec Innovations, is this a minority business enterprise?
Right.
But in order to get that certification, you have to have been in business for a couple of years. Now, there are some times when, you know, you can maneuver your way around that, but just know that that's the way this quote unquote game is played oftentimes. Another way you can bypass that is if you already have an in. Do you already know someone who has significant influence at some of these hospitals? If you do, that person can probably put in a good word for you, and then you can go through that vendor registration process.
Mhm.
But until you get into their database, the likelihood of you being able, because they don't know you,
Right.
and you have to, it's all of this is based around relationships. So that's going to be key for you, is figuring out how to develop those relationships, understanding who those people are. And this is where LinkedIn will be an excellent tool for you, because you can get into LinkedIn and start doing these searches. They would have titles like supplier diversity manager, or titles, something that has to do with vendor management, director of vendor management, director of operations. Anything that has to do with who is in charge of purchasing, even. That's another title, another word, excuse me, that often makes its way into people like that, into their titles. So you can start doing some filtered searches right now. But I'm getting ahead of myself because
Good stuff.
first,
I'm writing it down. I'm taking notes right now.
so, but first let's back up just a bit, because there were three things that I wanted to cover before we get into the weeds with some of these things. And that's what I mentioned in my response to Clarence's original video. And so you've answered one, that you have done some validation. What exactly have you done to validate that this is in fact a viable product in the marketplace so that it can be commercialized?
So initially, we just gave it away. We gave it away in Atlanta to, I'm gonna say, at least 20 nurses,
Mhm.
and at some of the larger institutions, at Emory Hospital, Piedmont Hospital, Wellstar.
Mhm.
We just gave it out, and then
Children,
we
Children's
waited.
Healthcare of Atlanta.
Yeah, right. Children's Healthcare was a huge one,
That's
and we
huge.
kind of waited a few weeks for the feedback, and the feedback was positive, and we've seen videos of people using it. So that kind of got us excited and said, "Hey, let's move on to the next step." But really, just giving it away.
Right.
Uh,
And
was
that
our
was
first step.
20 people altogether?
At
At least.
at least 20. Well,
At least.
so here's what happened. So we 20 people that we knew, we gave them like a nice. I mean, let's say we gave them 10 or 15 product sample bags, right? So they spread the word. So that they were the seed, right? So we told them, share with your coworkers. So we actually knew 20 people, but they should have touched probably 100 at
Mm-hmm.
least, because we gave them multiple packets that they could share with their coworkers.
Did you follow up with those 20 people?
We
Derek.
did.
Yeah,
We
we're
did.
still following up with them. You
Okay.
know, that's kind of an active process right now. Some of them have given us some testimonial videos. You know, thank you. We had one from you as well, but we've gotten that, but I don't. We've also gone. There's some areas where we've gone like we've done some cold calling, if you will, where I'll walk into an urgent care, Derek will walk into an urgent care, and we'll just say, hey, I'm such and such from MorTec Innovation. We have this new product, and we think it may be able to help you and your staff. Here you go. Websites on the packaging. You know, and they're thankful. They're all thankful because they're looking for things that can help.
Are you getting their contact information though? So when you do these cold calling, or or you are doing these cold walk-ins
Yeah,
and distributing your product for free, are you getting their contact information in exchange so that you can follow up with them?
I didn't.
Okay.
I don't know if Derek did.
No,
Okay.
some of them we did, but in some cases, I try to get to, I guess, the decision maker, right? Because a lot of times if I'll go in two places, cell phone accessory stores, right? I'll drop some package off. In addition to some of the urgent cares, but usually you're talking to a receptionist or just even at the cell phone store, just a hourly worker, right? So I've asked and try to say, hey, how can I get a manager's card, or like you mentioned, somebody in purchasing at the hospitals? But it's difficult, right? Even the nurses that I know personally, I've still yet to get that person who can make that decision maker information.
Yes.
Yeah,
So those.
yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
On one instance, and this kind of how difficult it's just been. My mother-in-law is she's actually a lab technician at Children's of Healthcare, and she's a floater, which means that she works at 5 different Children's of Healthcare locations, which is huge. So she gave them away for me at the children's locations, and actually the decision maker loved it, and they actually did a video and shot the video and said thank you. But I got the lady name, email, phone number. I can't get her to respond back. And she's sitting somewhere in her computer is a video that we haven't seen, that is a bunch of nurses saying thank you for this product. We love it.
Oh no.
So
That's
I'm yeah. So but in most cases, Alicia, we, like you mentioned, we don't have that key person's information.
yes.
So we
And
got to
again, that's where LinkedIn is going to be really powerful for you. So you can start doing those searches. And I would say, just to make sure that when you reach out to these people via LinkedIn, that they are enticed to accept your invitation, always make sure that you personalize your invitation request. Don't just send a connection request, personalize it. So do you know what I mean when I say that? Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
actually
And let them know, say, listen, we have a product. We'd love for you to try it. No strings attached. Because here's the thing, by doing it that way, you already have this person's contact information, because there is a way that you can get people's email addresses via LinkedIn. I don't know if you knew that. To me, that's the real, and I don't know why more business people don't leverage LinkedIn, because with LinkedIn, you can actually export the contact data for every single one of your connections. Many of them have actually shared their email addresses. Once you have those email addresses, you can then create a mailing list. I'm sure you've been hearing about mailing lists, right?
Oh,
yeah.
Because people, you have to stay in front of people, especially now that we're in the pandemic. I'm sure your inboxes are all just completely getting flooded. It's insane. But I will say this: out of sight, out of mind. So you're handing them this product without getting anything back in exchange from them. So it's not, you can't even say it's a true barter, because they've taken your goods and left you with nothing. Now, with these video testimonials that they're providing, what are you doing with those testimonial videos? Are they on the website?
They will be.
They will be.
We need to upload those, but the other thing we were doing is a Kickstarter. We were looking at a Kickstarter to do a Kickstarter, and we were going to use those for our Kickstarter content as well. And that's what we had focused on at first, but we kind of reached a little bit of a bump in the road with the Kickstarter as well. So we're looking at revamping that, but at the same time, I think we need to get those up on LinkedIn and up on our website as well.
So I'll share an example with you really quickly. So there's a company called Ingram Spark, and they are a tool for self-publishers. So if you write your own book and you self-publish your book, Ingram Spark has the ability to actually print your book on demand. Okay, so if you self-publish a book, you post it on Amazon for sale, and then when someone actually goes to Amazon to purchase a copy of your book, Amazon would then place an order with Ingram Spark, and Ingram Spark would deliver the product to that customer. The reason I'm bringing all of that up is because what happens with authors, and I know this because I have a relationship with Ingram Spark. When I place an order with Ingram Spark for copies of my book, once I receive that shipment, they ask me as a customer, can you show a video of yourself, you know, opening your box of books for the first time, and make sure you post it online. Here's a hashtag, tag us. And they leverage that to show the excitement and the joy of what it feels like to finally have your finished product in your hands. So
Right.
you could run a campaign similar to that in nature to actually have people show how they're using your product. And in fact, we haven't even described what the product actually is. So Protect My Cell, I have my bag here. And when I did my testimonial video, I just did it because I know that how important it is to do things like this. But it's basically, I call it, forgive me, but I just call it basically a Ziploc bag for your cell phone.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's like, right? You just, it works great. And what's funny, I know that right now the niche is for people who work in frontline employees in hospitals. But I was also thinking this is great for people who are outside gardening, if you're doing yard work and you have to have your phone on you, but even for people with toddlers. Babies love phones. These smartphones have all of these, they're very colorful. They can just swipe and touch, and they get their little dirty fingerprints all over your phone. And so those were just some adjacent markets that I was thinking of for you all. But one of the biggest things is I don't want to see you giving away your product and not getting anything back in exchange. So I don't think there's an issue with giving it away for free, but just at least make sure you get an email address that you can verify, or some type of contact information. Even if you just connect on Instagram or Twitter or one of these social platforms, just have a way to follow up with those people, because they will forget you.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not intentional. It's just the way our world is right now. We all have so many distractions. There's so many things going on. There's so many things vying for our attention. If you're not constantly staying in front of people, they'll forget about you. So that's the validation piece. I don't think 20 is enough, to be honest with you. I would encourage you to do even more, but make sure you actually have a plan for how you're going to go about doing that validation, and be very strategic about it. And you do want to put, you want to put it in the hands of people at all levels within the organization. But Derek, as you've already mentioned, you definitely want to make sure it gets into the hands of those key decision makers. And here's another thought. You might even want to find a fancy way of packaging it up and sending it to them via mail to that hospital address, and putting it to that person's attention. And a very indirect, non-aggressive way of doing that is, let's say if you are able to start connecting with some of these directors, influencers, people in charge of purchasing at these different hospitals, let's say if you are able to connect with them on LinkedIn, send them a message as soon as they accept your connection request and say, hey, thank you for accepting my invitation to connect here on LinkedIn. We have this product. Here's a short video about it. You could put a link right there in your message to them within LinkedIn, and then say, I would love to send you a package. Is this a good address for you? Don't ask them what is your address. Go to that hospital's website, look for their address, and say, is this a good place for me to send this to you? And I'll follow up with you in a couple of weeks to see how you like it. Those are just some thoughts and ideas. Again, a very non-aggressive, indirect way, because everybody's being sold something.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody is being sold something. And a very big mistake that I see so many people making on LinkedIn is they connect with you under the guise of, Clarence, I really want to reconnect with you, and yeah, let's connect here on LinkedIn. And then the minute you accept their invitation to connect, they're instantly trying to sell you something. It's like, well, wait a minute, we haven't even had a conversation.
Right.
So just know that when you're on that platform in particular, especially being that you're going to be dealing with the decision makers, people at the higher levels, just make sure that you're very genuine about it and that you don't come across as being overly salesy.
Right.
Okay. So that's the validation piece. The other question that I had for you is, do you have a marketing plan? Is there an overall business plan? So you mentioned Kickstarter. So I'm assuming that if you're thinking about raising money via Kickstarter, that you have some type of a business plan in place, and that's how you know how much money that you want to raise.
We do. We do. It's kind of it needs some work. I would say.
Okay.
We do have an overall business plan that talked about, how we develop the product, how we plan on finding these people. Some marketing, but the marketing, to me, the marketing was kind of weak, and we probably need some guidance around marketing. Because both Clarence and I, right, it didn't take us long to kind of develop the product, like come up with the sizes, come up with even the packaging. But the marketing piece, for me, it was new, right? Even from what I've done in the past, the barber industry, because I was kind of already a part of it, I knew how to navigate within it. But now you're selling something that can touch a different market than I'm used to.
Right.
Right. Frontline workers in this pandemic environment is kind of new to us, right? So our plan did have, LinkedIn, reaching out to nurses, teachers, but it didn't have the details like some of those you just mentioned, right? Like how to draft that initial contact with the LinkedIn member.
Yes.
And how to maybe get email addresses from that and build the mailing list. So
Right.
we can definitely add to it. We kind of had, hey, here are the resources and here are the tools that we're going to use, but we didn't have the meat and the details behind each of those tools.
Right.
Okay, got it. So can you all see my screen right now?
Yes.
Okay. This is called the Lean Canvas. Have you heard of that before?
No.
It's basically a one-page business plan.
Wow.
And it starts off, for those of you who are listening and you don't have the benefit of seeing this, the Lean Canvas is a template basically, and it has these different boxes on this one page. And the first box is the problem. And I think you're very clear on what the problem is that you're trying to solve, right? What problem is your product solving? Your product, and what are some of the alternatives that people have? You already mentioned saran wrap or cling wrap, this, that people would normally use for food. But there are people in the healthcare system right now that you know of who are actually using that to wrap their phones, just to be able to keep their phones as sanitary as possible. The next section is solution. Outline a possible solution for each of these problems. And I'll make sure that you all have links to all of this, and it'll definitely be in the show notes when your episode goes live.
Okay.
But think about downloading this template, because it's going to help you get to the meat of what you're really trying to do very quickly. A lot of people, how long is your business plan right now, the one that you have in place right now? I'm just curious.
Yeah, it's about 5 pages.
Okay, well, that's not bad, because back in the day, business plans, they could easily be like 50 pages. And what ends up happening is a lot of times when you write your very first business plan, you're going in based off of hunches and some market research that you may have done. But if you go back 5 years from now, if you go back and look at that very first business plan, the one that you have in place right now, your company might look completely different. So that's why so many people say, you know what, rather than going through the laborious effort of putting together this long drawn out business plan, let's use something very lean and simple that gets to the heart of what is the problem, who is the market, how big is this market, how much demand do we think we can generate for this product or service? And this template is a great way to get you there. The other thing that I wanted to mention to you is something that I actually created. It's called a marketing mind map for small businesses. Do you see that?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So let me explain what this means, because I think at the end of the day, this is really what's going to help both of you. This is something that I created about 9 years ago, and it's a marketing mind map. And if you see, it actually starts here in the center, marketing, and there's 6 main functions. Although we had another podcast guest, Ronan Walsh, who said that there's actually, I believe, 7 or 8 P's of marketing. But for right now, for purposes of looking at this diagram, we have place, promotion, price, product, position, and plan. And you'll notice the next crop of circles that extends from each of those 6 P's, they're in orange. And you just keep getting more granular and granular. I want you to take a look at this, download this. I think, Clarence, I've already emailed you a copy of this, but if you didn't receive it, let me know and I'll definitely resend it.
Okay.
This is going to help you get very clear on all of the different things that you can do from a marketing perspective. And of these different things, what's going to work best for Protect My Cell product. So, for example, if we look at the position circle right here, let me decrease the size here a bit. Well, that was a little bit too much. But if we look at position, what's your competitive advantage? Why would someone choose your product over a competitive product that's out there? It's just something for you to think about.
Yeah.
Who is your target market? You've identified people who are working in healthcare. The consumer consideration set, what that basically means is when people think of a viable solution, and this may not even be the case right now because people just don't know that a product like Protect My Cell even exists. But what the consumer consideration set is getting at is, let's say you all come up with a new organic type of toothpaste. The consumer consideration set says, if I go and survey about 20 people, as you've already done with your Protect My Cell product, if I go and survey 20 people and I ask them to start naming off the names of different toothpaste that come to mind within the next 10 seconds, is my product going to be within that consumer consideration set? So just know that as you start going down this path of commercializing your product, you want to be top of mind. You want to be so out there. You want to be on all of these social media channels. You want to be on TV. You want to have these ads on radio, wherever people are, wherever people consume information, so that the Protect My Cell product can become a part of that consumer consideration set. Or I'll give you another example. Another one that I like to use whenever I'm explaining this concept to people is, think of fruit. Let's say you're in the business of trying to sell limes, okay? And you go up to just randomly pick some people, you might go in the grocery store and ask them, start naming just whatever fruits come to mind first, just start naming them. Mm-hmm. Oh, apples, bananas, oranges, grapes, pineapple. Limes weren't even a part of that. So it's going to give you an idea of where people are, what comes to mind first, and how you can break through into that consumer consideration set. This other bubble here that you see as it relates to positioning the product, your Protect My Cell product, what's the mission and the vision? What is your story? What is the big idea behind Protect My Cell? I can tell you this. This is a book. It's called Building a Story Brand. I highly recommend you get this book. You can get it on Amazon. It's by Donald Miller. He also provides a one-page template to help you develop a story around your product. That's what people are going to buy at the end of the day. It's not always about whether or not your product is the best, whether it's the most innovative, whether it's the cheapest, whether it's the most expensive. People at the end of the day are buying into you and your story behind your product. So a lot of times, think about a movie. You might see a movie that's just, it's not a, and I don't want to name any names. I was thinking of a director who's known for putting out crappy product, but people buy into his story, right?
Yeah.
They're not interested in whether his finished product, these movies or these TV shows, are actually good. They've bought into him and his story. They want to see him win.
Correct.
Right? And people like to be associated with growth, with success, and with people who are upwardly mobile. So tell your story. What motivated you? That's how we started off, this consultation part of our conversation. What motivated you to create this product?
Mm-hmm.
Get on 𝗕𝗏𝘂𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗏𝗂𝗧𝗏 You could create a short 𝗕𝗏𝘂𝘂𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 and center on the website. This is why we created this product.
Yeah, we actually do have some pretty good stuff there. We do have an interview where we actually introduce ourselves and the product and why we actually came up with the product. So we do have that already. We just haven't placed it yet. It was part of our Kickstarter.
Okay, and make sure you have the words, some words to draw people in as well, because when it comes to your website, from a search engine optimization standpoint, search engines can't read videos. They can't read images, but they can read the text that you put around those images and those videos. And this is another little quick tip. Even when you name your video files or any image that you put on your website, make sure you give it you enrich it with keywords. So you may create a video, instead of just saying homepage video, MorTec Innovations, and leaving it at that, why not think about calling that file, the name of that file, the story behind MorTec Innovation, protect my cell product for protecting against coronavirus. It might be long, but you want to have keywords in there because that's what the search engines can read. They can't read anything you say in the video, but they can read the name of your file. They can read the name of those images. So that's why if you were to, for example, Google my name, you'll see all kinds of stuff coming up, and it'll be random because a lot of time I make sure I put my name in the title of a file, in the name of an actual file. So a lot of people don't realize that that's a little trick that you can do. So the third question that I had that I submitted in my video is, well, we actually talked about it. So do you have a marketing plan? What type of validation have you done? And who is your target audience? Let's take a deeper dive, if you want to, into that LinkedIn piece. So I can actually log into my account just so we can talk through this. So I would say from a process perspective, Derek and Clarence, the very first thing I would do is I would go to these different hospitals locally, and they almost always have the names of their directors, the people who are higher up. Who's the CEO? Who's in charge? The CEO isn't going to be in charge of purchasing, but the CEO definitely has, you better believe that CEO has influence. Mm-hmm. So go to the websites of those different hospitals or different healthcare agencies. It doesn't even have to just be hospitals exclusively. And then let's just say, I don't know, I'm going to do a search on Northside Hospital, and I'm here in LinkedIn right now using the search feature. And the cool thing is, okay, this is Northside Hospital, 10,000 plus employees. So I'm going to click on their actual company page. And the cool thing is, I don't know if you knew this, but you can actually click here on people, and it's going to start telling you more about the people who actually work here.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So see this where it says Billy Hayes, CEO at Northside Hospital? Let's click on his profile. Okay, LinkedIn is cutting up right now. Oh, there we go. Okay, so here's Billy. Now, Billy, he only has 127 connections, so he may not be he's probably not active on LinkedIn, but I would say it's still worth a try. But look over, this is what I would do. If it were me, I would look through his profile, try to look for points where you can connect with him. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a lot of information on his profile, but let's say under education, if you saw that he went to Georgia Tech undergrad, in your personal message to him, so when you go up here and you click that connect, see where it says add a note? You want to click that, and that's where you put in your personal script.
Okay.
Okay, you want to customize your script. And what I recommend, you can have a separate Word document or something in some type of a notepad feature that you might have if you use Mac, but have a script typed out and just swap out the names. Be very careful. You don't want to call Billy Bob, for example,
Exactly.
but be very careful about that. But make it to where you can customize it. Hi, Billy. I see that you are the CEO at Northside Hospital. Thank you so much. I'm sure things have been really busy for you right now, considering everything that's going on with the pandemic. Wanted to let you know that whatever you decide to say in your script, and keep in mind you only have 300 characters that you can type in your personal note here for your invitation. But just say, I would love to connect with you here on LinkedIn, and then you take it from there. And then hopefully he will accept. And then once he accepts, you would then see something over here. See where it says messaging? I don't know if you can see that right now.
Yeah. We see the screen. We see
yes. Okay. So that's where you would, so here's, for example, someone that I've reached out to. This is a script. Hello, James. As I seek to expand my network of astute leaders who understand the value of operational excellence, I came across your profile. I'd be honored if you accepted my invitation to connect here on LinkedIn. Thank you for your consideration. So you want to be nice. You don't want to be fake, obviously, but you want to be sincere. And then if he accepts my invitation to connect, I may then follow up and say, James, I noticed you also have a background in engineering. So do I. In fact, I created this product called Protect My Cell in response to what's going on with the pandemic. I'd love to have a conversation with you. Is it possible for us to talk for can I get 15 minutes of your time? That's another approach that I see a lot of people using as well. If you can get someone on the phone, that is the best case scenario. So do you all have a calendar system, a booking system that you use? Like Calendly, or I use Acuity. So when you booked the podcast, that was through Acuity scheduling.
Yeah, I saw that.
But there's Calendly. That's another great way. So in fact, let me pull it up really quickly. It's CALN. So and this is an Atlanta-based company, actually. So it's very easy. It connects very seamlessly if you have a Gmail account, Outlook 365, and probably a few other types of email accounts. But once you connect your calendar, you can then start to send your personal calendar link to someone like James or Billy in LinkedIn and say, I would love to have a conversation with you, talk about, how we can potentially support each other. Don't try to sell people from the very beginning is the bottom line. The other thing that we talked about was, again, looking into whatever certification you can get for your business at this time. There's also, I don't know if this is still a certification, but it was called the DBE. That's Disadvantaged Business Enterprise. It's been a long time since I've looked into that, but I know that's for companies who have revenues less than $250,000, and it's usually in conjunction with the Department of Transportation. So let's say if you wanted to do business with MARTA, that's our public transportation system here in Atlanta. I don't know about you guys, but I'm very scared to get on a train right now. But it could be, Derek and Clarence, that you're able to say, when people think of mass transit, they don't, I'm sure the fear factor is definitely there. We have this product. We'd love to figure out how we can connect with MARTA, and maybe we can get this product into the hands of all of the different conductors on the rail system, the bus drivers, the people who are driving the actual buses. You know, MARTA is a whole transportation system. That's just a thought. But just know that sometimes when you go into these much larger organizations, if that's who you're trying to target initially, and the nurses who told you, yes, I want my company, I want my hospital, the hospital where I work at, to actually purchase this for me, you will have to get into that vendor database.
Right.
But you want to make sure you have some legs under you. So I want to make sure that you guys have some stats that you can, you know, get those testimonials, start getting really active. I'm not really good with Instagram, but I know Instagram would do wonders for your product. So I would say leverage LinkedIn heavily to meet with those upper level folks, those upper management folks and key decision makers and influencers within these hospitals, and then leverage Instagram to get those testimonials and start to really build up that following on Instagram.
Right.
Here's the thing, people, social media, you know, can definitely be a blessing and a curse, but people do look at the numbers. And if they go to MorTec Innovation's account on Instagram and they see that you have, first of all, that it's a verified account and that there's over 10,000 followers, that raises eyebrows.
Right.
I would also consider even maybe creating a YouTube channel. These are just some thoughts and ideas, but you won't be able to know exactly what things you want to do until you actually develop that marketing plan. And I would insist that you do that first. So here's your process, because I know we have to start wrapping this up.
Yeah.
Create your one-page business plan using the Lean Canvas template. I then want you to look at that marketing mind map and really lay out strategically what you're going to do from a marketing perspective. I know how it is when you're first starting out. There isn't a whole lot of money to work with. So really leverage the tools that give you some type of free version. For example, we still have Calendly up here on the screen. You can sign up for Calendly for free. So leverage whatever you can, get these free accounts up and going, and figure out how to automate a lot of your marketing efforts. Use LinkedIn. You don't have to pay for LinkedIn right now. You
Right.
can still start to, as long as you have a name. Once you go to those hospitals' websites and you start compiling this list of names, start typing in those names in LinkedIn, looking for those people, get your script together, send them invitations to connect, and then figure out what your very next step would be after that. Do you want to schedule a 15-minute call with them, meet and greet? Or do you want to just say right away, I have this product, here's a link to a video, a very short video. People's attention spans are very short, so I would say a video no more than maybe 90 seconds. You know, send that to them and ask, can I send this? Can I send a package to this address to your attention? Make it easy for people to say yes to you. But if you ask them, oh, can you tell me, you know, you don't want to get into a situation, Derek and Clarence, where you're constantly going back and forth. Well, what's a good time for you? Well, I don't know. What's a good time for you to meet? Hey, listen, here's a link to my Calendly calendar. Pick a date and time that works best for you, and we'll take it from there.
Right.
Don't ask me for my address. Let me know that you've already taken the initiative to look up the address of where I work. Don't ask them for their personal address. Say, is it okay can I send this here, or is there another address that you would prefer? Let them tell you where they want you to send a complimentary copy, and then have a plan for following back up with them. Now, I'll tell you another great tool, and this will be the last tool that I'll share before we wrap up. Are you all familiar with CRMs, customer relationship management software?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. Make sure you start building out your database using a CRM. There are a lot of them out there where you can start up. Again, you can start an account for free. You just want to make sure that I don't know if this is the case right now, but Derek may have some contacts, Clarence may have some contacts. Some of them may be stored in one system here. Some may still be written down on sheets of paper. Some may be somewhere in an Excel spreadsheet. You want to make sure you have one central location that both of you have access to, where you keep all of that contact information together. And that CRM is also based on how you set it up. You can also set it up to where it alerts you and reminds you, hey, Derek, you know what? You reached out to Billy. What was Billy's last name? Let me go back to Billy. You reached out to 𝗵𝗲𝗁 on September 9th, 2020, and you set up this reminder to follow up with him in 10 days. Well, today's September 20th. Make sure you follow up with him. Mm-hmm. Those are just some foundational things to get you started. So, any thoughts? Where are you going to start first?
We got to go back to that lean canvas.
That's right. Go to that lean canvas. Really think about what you're going to do strategically from a marketing perspective, because it's very easy to get all over the place. But the key here is to be focused.
Exactly.
And once you have that focus, it's just going to guide and direct everything you say and everything that you do. But most importantly, don't give your stuff away without getting anything else in return. Don't give it away, Derek. Make sure you get something back in exchange. Even if it is just a name and an email address, that's something, right? Yeah. Exactly, so that you can follow up with these people, because they will forget about you. Any other questions? I know that went by fast. There's so much more to say.
Yeah, this was very good, very good. A lot
to digest.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, tell people how they can get their hands on your product. One more really quick question: is your product available on Amazon?
Not yet, but I think we do have an end for that, don't we?
Yeah, we
got an end. Get it on.
We were leaning on the Kickstarter.
Right.
And when you're on Kickstarter, they really don't want you to have it available on another platform. But I think we're backpedaling on Kickstarter, and we're going to get Amazon started pretty soon.
Yes. Get your Amazon store up and running and get your product out there.
Yeah.
That's what's going to really help put it on the map. And don't forget about that QVC program. Apply for that QVC program as well. Okay, so that was a lot. How can people get in touch with both of you?
Okay. I'm Clarence Levy. You can get in touch with me, clarence.levy@gmail.com. And our product, 𝗕𝗂𝘀𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀, actually has a website for purchasing. It's 𝗕𝗂𝘀𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀net.
Okay. And Derek, how can people get in touch with you?
So I've really been playing with LinkedIn, and we spend a lot of time on LinkedIn today. Yeah. So if you look up Derek, actually Charles, my middle name, Derek Charles on LinkedIn, and you'll see 𝗕𝗂𝘀𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀 as a company as well.
Okay.
I would like to connect with new people on LinkedIn there. Again, 𝗕𝗂𝘀𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀net, and you can get more information about the product.
Okay, and I know I promised that I wrapped everything up, but I really do have one more thing to say. Make sure you create a company page on LinkedIn as well.
Yeah.
I was just about
it is there. 𝗕𝗂𝘀𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 as a company is up.
So make it as robust as you possibly can before you start sending start sending out those invitations.
Yep.
Because what's going to happen, people will look, they're going to, well, who is Clarence Levy? I don't know who Clarence Levy is. And they're going to look at Clarence's profile, 𝗕𝗂𝘀𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀. Then they're going to click on that. You want them to be wowed, and you want them to be impressed. And again, make it hard for them to say, no, I don't want to I don't want to connect with him. Make it very easy for people to say yes to you.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're good. I think we know.
All right, Clarence.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
I will definitely be checking back in with you all. I'm gonna give an update on your progress on the very last episode of this season. So I'll be checking in.
Okay.
Good luck to both of you. Let me know how I can continue to support you.
No doubt. No doubt. Same here. Same here.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And again,
Thanks, Alicia. This has been
well,
awesome.
hang on. I'm glad you liked it. Hang on. And again, everybody, that's protectmycell.net. Protectmycell.net. Clarence, Derek, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks,
All right.
Alicia.
Thank you.
Phew. We covered a lot of ground, didn't we? Here's an overview of the new commercialization process for MorTec Innovation. First, we recommended that they create a new LinkedIn company page for MorTec Innovation. Secondly, I suggested that both Clarence and Derek each go back to their respective LinkedIn profile pages and make sure they optimize them to include information about their backgrounds as engineers as well as their new company, MorTec Innovation. Third, we talked about them actually visiting the websites of local hospitals and medical clinics, gathering the names of those key leaders, influencers, and decision makers, and from there, looking to see if those people are actually on LinkedIn. If they are, they should consider extending invitations to each of those people to connect, and hopefully, most, if not all of them, will actually accept that invitation. Something they can do immediately after that is try to figure out a way to engage with each of these new connections. A great way would be to recommend having a discovery call with them, where they can then actually make the offer of sending product samples to each of these connections. Another thing we talked about was the importance of them not just gathering video testimonials as they've already been doing, but also making sure they get those email addresses from these raving fans and advocates that they already have in different hospitals and medical clinics throughout the Metro Atlanta area. From there, they can place those video testimonials onto various social sites as well as their website. And from there, let that word of mouth spread like wildfire, and you can start expanding into other markets outside of Atlanta by repeating the exact same process that we just talked through. Once you start repeating that process, you're expanding into other markets, you'll have another different problem. You'll have to hire more people, innovate more products, and start getting those back office operations tightened and more streamlined. We expect great things from these two. I can't wait to find out what progress they'll make before the end of 2020. Are you also curious to find out? Will Clarence and Derek engineer their way to commercialization success? Well, the best way to find out is by making sure you subscribe to the podcast and to our YouTube channel at businessinfrastructure.tv. By doing so, you'll receive a notification when the last episode of Season 10 premieres, and that's where I'll give an update on their progress. We'll also have links to the resources mentioned during this episode in the show notes. Again, that'll be available at businessinfrastructure.tv. As always, thank you so much for tuning in and for being a loyal subscriber. Remember, stay focused, be encouraged. This entrepreneurial journey is a marathon and not a sprint. Until the next time.